We are live.
Deus te abençoe e te guarde, faça resplandecer seu rosto sobre ti, te mostre sua graça e te dê paz. Que Dieu te bénisse et te garde, que sa face luise sur toi et t'accorde sa grâce, qu'il tourne sa face vers toi et te donne sa paix. Just to you, the Lord turn
Wow, 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 wow. Great to be back live on Facebook for the Lights360 Light360 broadcast for today. We've been having a great time on these chats that we've been having with different individuals, wonderful people, that have been sharing on this broadcast. And today I have two wonderful guests, people that I really, really love, and I really, really believe in them. I admire them, and I love what they are doing. I love who they are. I believe in their vision. So excited about the impact that they are making, through their lives, through their stories, and I'm privileged to have them here today to have this discussion. So we're going to have a wonderful hour today. Just, today we're talking about creativity, we're talking about innovation, we're talking about how you can maximize your life at this time through creativity and innovation and strategic thinking. So I have with me today, I have my wonderful brother, Rotimi Kehinde of God Culture. God Culture. So you're going to hear a little bit more about him. He's a, like I said, they are polymaths. They are very versed in various subjects and also multi-talented individuals. I remember the first time that two of them met, I was like, you guys need to connect together because you have some similarities. Rotimi is a very creative person. I've known him for many, 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 many years. And he's just somebody that I admire and somebody of great impact. So Rotimi, glad to have you here on the Light360 chat today.
Thank you so much, Pastor Lan. It's such a big, huge honor to be here and just to be part of this conversation.
Thank you. And then I have Success Ekpeyong. He's actually joining us from Florida. Two of us are in Chicago, but he's joining us from Florida today. Success is another amazing individual. I met him some years ago. The first time I met him and we had some conversation, I was like, this is a solid person. This is somebody who has a vision of leadership and impact for the continent of Africa. And then he was in Nigeria. I remember we had that conversation. I was like, I think you need to come to the US and, study. I don't know how the conversation went. Maybe you talk about it later. And then, he came in and then he's in school. They just did a video on him recently at his school, just about, his resilience and excellence. And, he's just a wonderful person. And both of them they've all participated in the Leading Lights training. They actually were in the same cohort of Leading Lights training organized by the Light Development Center. So Success, welcome to the Light360 broadcast.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I am glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity and thanks for the invitation. Yeah.
Thank you. And then I want to thank all those of us joining us from different places, the Leading Light Network and other places on this broadcast, on the different pages on Facebook and YouTube. So I want to thank you for being a part of this broadcast today. So if you want to join the conversation, just type into the Facebook. If you want to ask a question of the panelists, I will pick it up there and then I will ask them the question. So let's get into it now. So let's start with you, Rotimi. Tell us a little bit about yourself. So who is Rotimi Kehinde?
Wow.
Who you are, what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Pastor Lan. And hello, everyone watching all around the world, I'm sure. Thank you for joining in today. Well, my name is Rotimi Kehinde, as Pastor Lan just said. I founded God Culture many years ago while I was on the college campus trying to figure out my purpose. And it's really been a journey, really exploring the fullness of what God has called me to do through that platform. I'm also an entrepreneur. I work full-time through my company, Kingdom Branding. We have an amazing team of creatives who work around the clock helping to deploy brands for different customers. And I love working on experiential marketing. That's what we've been really jumping into. And most recently, we launched our first app for our company, and we're getting ready to step into app development as a company. I love teaching about purpose. I cannot imagine anyone living life without knowing what they are called to do. And so my passion, I'm very passionate about teaching purpose and helping people figure out purpose. To conclude what I'm saying, I went to Leading Lights, the Leading Lights program, where Pastor Lan literally took a drill and put some stuff in our heads over 3 days. And that really inspired me to discover what my true platform is to be able to express my purpose. And I think I'll share some of that today. But that's who I am in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rotimi. Appreciate that. Success. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Success? I love your name. Your name is, I'm jealous. I want a name that is that precise.
I used to hear, often you hear people say, "Oh, I really like your name," and I'm like, I wish I was as excited as you are bearing the name, because while a lot of people like it, so much and get excited, I get to do the hard part of it. I get to bear the burden of it, and you cannot, just like people say, you can't say you're a success and never had failures, so the failure is part of who you are, it's part of the process, part of the name. If you accept the name, you got to embrace the process, right? So it's, I tell people, hey, you better know what you're calling for. Like this lady who met me once at school and said, I think I found a name for my son. I was like, you better know what you're inviting, but I'm grateful to be here. My name is Success. I'm I would say I'm keeping up with the name. I study here at the University of South Florida. Should be graduating in a few months. In fact, I have just 2 classes to go. Studying business analytics and information systems with a concentration in cybersecurity. I am very, very passionate about leadership in national transformation. I am crazy about it. It burdens my heart when I see the dramas that happens when it comes to politics, governance, leadership, community development. And I see basic things that can actually make huge impact, and yet we see so much chaos, and certain things actually trigger those things. And of course, coming to the kingdom side of it, like really seeing a lot of things that we as kingdom people should be doing strategically at this time, or even before now, gray areas. I used to hear Miles Monroe say things like the church is usually like 19 years, behind trends or what's going on. And that used to concern me. But as of today, we can see why that statement is so valid. So, but that has always been on my heart. So I study here at the University of South Florida. I just started, it took me some time, but I just began my nonprofit. I just registered it. It's called Upsurge International. I actually decided for the name at a Leading Light program. And it was hard to put that platform together because there were a lot of things that, thinking of how to put them all in, but we're able to put that together, have some amazing people already who are supporting us and driving the thing. So very soon we would make some public appearance, but now it's in the works because it's like you want to build a skyscraper at the foundation, you can't be too in a hurry with it, So I'm excited. I've been very involved in a lot of leadership opportunities and positions here in the US and back in Africa when, back in the days, I would say, so, and I've seen all sorts of things. I've participated in a lot of opportunities to support ministries and, counsel friends and, things like that. So I'm excited. I had the opportunity to come for Leading Light program. I think it was a brainwashing session we had, it was so intense. It was I came with a lot of materials that for that program to like maybe have some private time to work on those things myself. But I couldn't work on any of those things because the information, the download for that weekend alone was just too much. I got back to wherever I was putting up and I had to think through the night. The next morning we're back again. I mean, I'm just so excited we had the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to probably a refresher, So, but thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here. I hope we're able to share some things with everyone listening. Yeah.
Thank you, Success. Thank you, both of you. So let's start. So this Corona thing just hit the world. A lot of people were not prepared for it. So maybe some were prepared and all that. I mean, having gone through several weeks of it, from your own life, from your own experiences, what are some of the opportunities that you have seen from this period that you can share, or that you have, used, or that you see regarding this period? And Rotimi, you can go first.
Awesome. Yeah, I sat myself down one day and I really thought about it because I was kind of waiting. I was like, I'm going to wait for 4 weeks and then kind of see what happens, and then we'll go back to normal. I asked the entire team to work from home. We've been working remotely through this period, observing social distancing and all that. And I thought to myself, I said that I need to figure out a way to measure the impact of not adapting and growing in this season. And I need to use that as a benchmark and ask myself if I really just want to watch and observe, or if I want to take advantage of the situation and what that would look like. So that really helped me change my mentality around and ask myself, what's some things that I can start to do that would really help me in this season to do let's say two things. One, to grow inwardly, and then two, to grow outwardly. And so the first one was that, just to share a couple of points here. One is don't panic, because the entire mediascape, the world is panicking, is in panic mode. And so the first thing is don't panic. If you study global crisis, if you just look at historically what has happened in our history, right from the Bible, right from when Joseph became prime minister, if you kind of look through the trends, you realize that in those seasons or periods of pandemics and global issues, that some people always somehow make a lot of money and some people don't. And it's really about rethinking and changing your perspective about how to deal with crisis. So number one is don't panic, because if you panic, you're going to make bad decisions. Bad decisions are going to lead to worse decisions. The second point here is to kind of analyze, right? Do a lot of research. Ask yourself, what are those things that I can put in place today to help me survive and go through this period? I was sharing with a lady a few days ago who called me, and we're talking about purpose, and she said, I'm really trying to figure out what to do now. I'm freaking out. This is bad. I've lost my job. I'm just trying to figure out what to do next. And so we were able to create a plan, and it was just a very simple 3-point plan. One was what we call the survival plan. Two was what we call the future plan, right? And so the survival plan is really, don't panic, figure out what you can do in the immediate to sustain yourself. Figure out what support you can get, maybe through the government or church communities that are around you that are there to help support you through this period. And then two is the future plan, is what can I do in the future? And what do I need to learn? What do I need to invest in today to help me get into that future? Because this thing has changed how we live forever. And then the middle plan is, what are the next top 3 things that I can do within the next few weeks, right? To help me to start putting all these things into action. So to recap, that one is don't panic. What can I do about my current situation? Getting immediate help, right? There's the PPP, the Payroll Protection Program, if you're a small business owner. There's church, if communities, and there are other nonprofit organizations that are helping people in this time. 2 is, what is the future? What do I need to adapt to? What do I need to change for the future to be sustainable in the future? And 3, what are 3 top things that I can do now as actionable steps to begin to move myself in the direction of the future? So just to give you a nutshell of what I'm implementing in my life and helping people navigate.
Thank you very much. That's very apt. So deal with it now and then look look into the future while all this is going on, but know that it's an opportunity. And don't panic. That's so important. Don't panic. Don't be scared. It's an opportunity. Thank you. Success. So what's your own mind? What advice do you have for people at this time?
I mean, I think
the opportunities and how to navigate it.
I think Rotimi did an amazing job on that. Survival and also just checking out for things to do. But one of the things that I decided to do was not, which I probably would recommend, is not to be the one to be encouraged. Or in a way, it's not like there are moments when you need encouragement. I mean, everyone does. Everyone needs a dose of that often. But be the one to give encouragement. Be the one who is seeking out for people, whether they deserve it or not, whether they're younger than you, your mates, or older. Check on them. Ask them questions, is there something you want me to pray with you about? Is there something going on? So I saw this as an opportunity for people to really brighten their lights, people to spread your light, share your faith. I mean, personally, I don't think I have panicked at all. I have my journey in the US, I've been on the borderline from day one. I've been on the faith track on day one. I've not had a moment where it's like, okay, cool, all right, let's just chill. And when you stay on that kind of track for a long time, territories like this become a little bit normal, where you're not so moved around. And this is probably an opportunity for people who aren't so used to chaos, who are not very used to moments where things are not going as smoothly as they want, because these times will always come. But if you're able to navigate this time very well. So, I mean, part of what I do daily, I mean, I listen to all sorts of, I've been listening to tapes, I've been praying like crazy, I've been studying whatever I can study. I have, trying to top things on. I have drawn up a new schedule for myself, things I must wipe out within the next 3 months. Arrange the books I must close in the next week. I'm even getting to find some opportunities are boiling, are just waiting for this COVID to be over, So, and some friends shared them with me, and I've been sharing with some friends too. And it's crazy. People are positioning themselves. A lot of things are going on. So I'm like, wait, who is really panicking? Who is crying? Who is, I'm thinking, my thesis, for instance, one of the classes I took in this semester that just ended was I had to do a thesis, and I did a thesis on human capital development of focus for developing countries, Africa as a focus. So my professors, actually, I just got distinction in it, and it's a lot of work, what had gone into that. And so, which is, interestingly, it's part of the organization. Like, I took my professors allowed me to use my emerging NGO that I just talked about as the thesis, as part of what we want to do on that platform for the thesis itself. So they got me really excited. My design thinking professors and all of that, who, they teach PhD level design thinking. So they've been on my they've been my guide in that process. And so all through this past few months from home, we've been just working, cleaning it up. And I think, and one of the things that I started doing recently was, okay, because we're going to launch it in Nigeria last month. We're going to launch some part of it in Nigeria just last month before. In fact, that was the day one of my team members was going to fly out from New York to Nigeria. The very day she was supposed to leave the US was the day Nigeria shut their border. So, and we're supposed to launch 3 projects that month. So everything just went quiet. So what we've been trying to do lately is how we can explore the online platform, how we can launch it online and all of that, which is really, really fascinating. I think it will probably work better for us. So it's been a busy one. and just reflecting and also connecting with people, building new relationships, and having even some time to listen to people you've never really listened to before. Deep dive into very serious issue, and it's shocking some of the kind of information I have learned. Within this time, things I had never known were happening in this country, things I never knew were happening around the world. I mean, it's been an exciting time, and I just hope that not continues like this, but we keep getting the best out of the situation. Yeah.
Awesome. So, thank you for sharing. Now, one of the tendencies of people at such times as this is that they become consumers. Now, if they are consuming good stuff, like what Success was talking about, like, getting information and all that, but people get bored and they get so caught up. There are a lot of things going on social media now, Netflix binging, I mean, I watch Netflix, I do all that. So there's nothing wrong in watching Netflix or binging once in a while. But I just want you guys to speak to being a producer, a creator versus just being a consumer. So I know that, one of the opportunities of this season is because people are taking their pause, that there is some kind of atmosphere for creating. I've been sharing about Isaac Newton, that during the great plague of Great Britain that took place in 1665. He was in Cambridge as a student, so they told everybody to go on social distancing. So they were off campus, people were separated. It was during that time, while he was on the farm in his house, that's when he came up with the part that he contributed to the development of calculus. That's when he came up with his work on light and prism and so on. And that's where that story of the apple falling on his head, even though that's not really a true story, but it was there, under the tree. That's where he first of all began to develop what became the laws of gravity, laws of motion, and all that. So by the time he got back to Cambridge in 1667, within 6 months or so, they made him a fellow. And he practically changed the world through a pandemic that took place that forced everybody to be isolated. So Rotimi, I know you're a very creative person. I can say that you are probably the most creative person that I know.
Oh.
So
Thank you, Pastor Lam.
I'm saying that.
Thank you so much. Lots of pressure.
So tell us something about that. Like, how can people be creative at this time in their own way? Everybody has some kind of creativity. How can, so just speak to that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that, Pastor. That means a lot. Well, I'll give a few points of how, you can be creative and how you can kind of take opportunities in this season. And I just also want to balance that with the fact that, if you know anyone who's going through, COVID or, again, we understand and we're praying and we understand the seriousness of what's going on. But the other part of that is also realizing that there are opportunities out there that you can take advantage of. And the first thing is that, and I'll just give you a few points that has really helped me. One would be to kind of think about what your online presence is going to be today. The reason is that a lot of people are on their phones, a lot of people are on the internet now because people are at home more. And so you want to think about that. What are you going to present? How will you present yourself online? Now that could be through your landing page, could be through your social media, whatever it is. You want to think about what is my online presence? How do I make sure that when people find me, that they can get access to whatever it is that I'm offering? The second thing is really developing products and courses, thinking through what are some things that people need today. I've used a philosophy that I've really shared across my company is be human, right? There's so much information out there today. And so what kind of information do I want? That's how I'm going to present the information that I'm giving to other people, by being human. So being human today is really one, empathy, thinking about what other people are going through. People want information. People want correct information. Two, people want to be able to solve certain problems. To give you a very good example, there's as a member, I don't know if he's still part of CD Light, but he has an app that allows you to order Nigerian food here in the US. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
When this thing started, yeah, I grabbed my phone immediately, went to that app, and I was able to download, I was able to order at least, I think 2 or 3 tubers of yam with Cerelac and pig milk, which are my favorite things that I need during a pandemic, because I knew that everything was going to be shut down. So think about that. The fact that we just deployed, our app. Think about different things that people would need today. People need consulting. People need your mind right now. So this is a very good opportunity to be a content developer, to be someone who can do courses, someone that can do video content, someone that can write articles. There are people looking for great information today. And just to go a little geeky into my world in how to be creative, there is opportunity for experimentation right now. And it allows you to be able to test out different business strategies that you can adopt today. So, and also, you can also create you can highlight different target audiences, and you can write out what their needs are, and then create solutions or products that are targeted to those different audiences. I'll give you my final point before I pass the mic. I work with a bunch of older people. We call them seniors here. So we don't call them old people, we call them seniors, right? And when this whole thing started, I started getting emails. They're part of my business network. So they would email me and say, oh, Rotimi, I don't know how to do a webinar. I'm not sure how to do a Facebook Live. I've had pastors call me who never thought for once that they were going to need an online giving page. We just always received cash and checks through services. Now, all those things are core needs. Are those opportunities for me? Yes, because those are needs that people have. So I just want you to think about that. There's so much opportunity out there. And final point, even though I said that was my final point, is also online events, like what Pastor Lan is doing right now. So think about if you have something that you think will be beneficial to people, that you can build a platform around, this is definitely the time.
Thank you. That was so good. Thanks. Success. So the question is, rather than just being consumers, how can people be creators at this time? Take advantage of this time to actually create. For example, I've been working on books during this time. We have created an LMS system to deliver our training. We're working on it, almost complete. Like some work still needs to be done on it to put courses and all that, but we were able to get a platform, put it up, up there. We're doing this. What we're doing right now, the Lights360, that we started. We're working on another app, for the distribution of materials, like an exchange app that we're calling the A432 system from Acts of the Apostles, chapter 4, verse 32, when nobody lacked anything because, everybody was sharing. So we're creating a matching app that will match needs to supply, that people can do that. So that is ongoing right now with the Light Development Center. Just, different things that we're just working on, currently, just to maximize the moment. And we've also discovered that, there are a lot of funding. There's a lot of willingness right now to fund things from government, from other non-profits and all that. We have gotten some good money this time, I got the PPP, so there's just some opportunities right now that people can take advantage of. So what do you advise, Success?
Pastor Lan, some of us need to move to Chicago and join you because things are happening in Chicago. Hopefully it starts happening in Florida. But yeah, I mean, questions like this, Rotimi is it's a professor in them, so he's doing a good job. But this is the way I would see it. There are a lot of things going on and a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to want to put your hands into. But people have to be very careful, have to be discreet at what they do. They have to be very selective. There has to be a selective engagement. Even attention. has to be on very, very selective content, relevant content. While you were talking, Pastor, I just remembered, during the Leading Light program, we did something around life plan. This is, a fantastic opportunity to do a quick recheck on your life plan. Where have your life been going to all these years? Are you on track? Do you think you're on track? Are you really in the place where you ought? Because if you're not even in the place where you ought to be, then why just thinking about any other thing on that confusion is more chaos, So you want to be sure that first the ship the ship in itself, it's on course, before you start accepting cargoes from any other person who's trying to put stuff on you, So this is a fantastic time to do that, like really, really settle down and be comfortable with yourself. Be sure that you are on course. If you're not sure about anything, even I had to ask myself, am I doing what I ought to be doing? Things like that. There was Socrates that said, man, know thyself. So know yourself, know what's going on with your life. Then another way I want to look at it is look at the past. What are the things you've wanted to do in the past that has not left your shelf, that have not, that it's like case closed, I mean, we're people of God, we're people of the Bible says, I would bring to your remembrance, the Spirit of God will bring to you those things he has said to you. So in the stillness of the moment, in just buying some quiet moment during this period, what are the things that comes back to you? In fact, it's probably a good prayer to pray that God remind me of things that you've asked me to do that I have not given attention to. Because it's not just enough to jump into something new when there are things piled up that God wants you to do. And that thing he wants you to do may not look relevant at the moment, but may not even look strategic to the chaos right now. But God knows why he told you to do that. Think about it. There were people whom God had told to do certain things against seasons like this, and probably they acted. Now they are beneficiaries of the moment. So you never can tell, because everything has their seasons and times, right? So that's part of it. Look at the past. What are those things that you're supposed to do? Bring out those ones that resonate with you strongly, that are relevant in your spirit today and in the future into action. And then look at yourself right now. What are the things that within your space that you are working on that are relevant to the future? Which ones should be thrown away? Which one should be discarded? Which one should be worked on right now? Because a lot of people have quite a lot going on with them, that they need to work on. So this is another time to like get busy on those things. And then another thought is the future. Based on what is, because the world is never going to be the same anymore. Based on what's going on, what is my place? What is my footing? What advantage, what path do I have to play? What role am I to play in that future? Even what I call ministry before, what is it going to look like, right, in the pages of events that are coming up now? And then another thing I thought was important is, how can I help others? Right now, there are people who need it, whether they are pastors, whether they are teachers, whether they are all kinds of people that I can lay my skills to, that I can lend some advice to, that I can support with some sort of knowledge or information that I have uncovered or discovered. It may not even be for profit, but just supporting them to have them enhance what they do. I mean, it's interesting. I had shared a few information with some people that I respect so much. In fact, they're like up there. I respect them, mentors of all categories, and I've shared stuff with them, and they really appreciated it. And it's helping what they do right now. That may not impact you in the moment, but those are part of the opportunities that comes with this time to sow seeds that you probably would reap tomorrow, So that's how I see it.
Very good. Thank you. So there's something you said that leads to the next thing that I want to ask both of you. So you mentioned the man being okay, like get your center before you start adding some more things. get yourself, like your purpose, strategic, your future plans, and all that. You know, some people have said it. I've been on different live broadcasts with different people. I'm invited on or whatever. And one of the common things that I've seen is that people are saying that we know that God did not send coronavirus, right? But it looks as if this thing has come to give us a reset. Like there were certain ways that we were doing things before, especially as the church too. You know, there are certain ways that we're doing things before, the church, individuals, even families, that this coronavirus is like a reset. It's like timeout. You know, the way you give your kids timeout. They've been jumping all over, just a timeout. They have to stay in one place and they set themselves, you know, reset themselves so that they can really be able to do things correctly. So, Rotimi, what are some things that you have observed, like the way we were living before, or the way we're doing church or doing things before, that this coronavirus has come to reset? What reset are you seeing?
I think I see a couple of areas where that has happened. You know, we've the idea of, you know, large church versus small group settings definitely is one of the conversations right now. And also the virtual church, engaging through the digital space and having community. I think if we were to look through science, we know that for sure that human beings were created for relationship, one, relationship with God, and two, relationship with one another. And so I think that it's important for us to have those conversations around how do we continue to increase engagement with people, either through coming together or also through the digital space. It's also an opportunity for evangelism on another level. The amount of content that's flooding the social waves right now is immense. And I think that churches are now beginning to embrace technology. I'm glad that at this particular time works for a lot of Nigerians who are able to watch this live. And, you know, it's important for us to realize that technology is not an enemy. I've had the opportunity to work with lots of pastors over the past few years. And, you know, it's like what Success said earlier, that it's like we're really trying to catch up when it comes to being at the forefront of technology. Well, that's happening right now. We're realizing that technology is important. It's important that that's part of our strategy, that we're using that to engage with people, that we're using that, you know, for helping to raise funds for ministry. We've had pastors that are really panicking because so far all they've done is, like I said earlier, just, you know, offering time.
Yeah.
Now they don't have recurring donations. They don't have those systems in place. So that's changing for sure, for everyone, for the church. And I think also just the global economy. Most of us read this morning, or was it? Yeah, this morning, that the CEO of Amazon is now a trillionaire. Which is, you know, so I think, you know, supply and demand, supply chain, those industries for sure are going to help sustain the economy. There are definitely areas that we need to look at how that's definitely going to continue to change based on what has happened with this thing. So I think we need to evolve in how we do events. I think we need to evolve in how we provide support and community to people. But at the end of the day, I think we're never going to stop coming together. At the end of the day, where
relational that will never change about the human nature.
Will not, yes.
That no virus can stop. We'll just adapt to new ways of doing it, you know. So thank you. Success. So what do you say to that? What are some resets and adjustments that are going on right now?
Honestly, this season, I would say, is a blessing to the church, to the body of Christ. If, I mean, there will be people who don't see that, but I think it's, you know, it was TDJ who preached the message once, and he said there are certain things that only age or only time can teach, you know. So there are things that only certain seasons can teach, you know. I just like Rotimi said, there have been, let me use an example. There have been pastors that I have said, I can't imagine you're not online. Like you don't have live stream. I can't, I can't believe it, sir. People should, your audience, they may not even be around your community.
Yep.
You know, your audience may be somewhere in China or somewhere in Australia, you know, or India, you know, and somehow they didn't budge, you know, but this season revival happened, you know. So so, and when I saw that, I was, because I'm like, there are millions of people online at the punch of your phone or your computer. You know, you have access to them benefiting from this grace that God has richly blessed you with, you know. So, you know, but to see that this season had given, in fact, this season has given a maximum concentration to that platform that had been so ignored, is I'm just praying that these ministries, or the way everybody's engaging this platform right now, does not disappear when this is over, you know, or does not calm down when this is over, because that momentum has to be sustained. It's a season that God has given us to blend into a generation, you know, a generation that has been left out. In this season, a lot of young people have been able to at least, like, let me even listen to what this, I mean, just because there's so much bombardment in that space, let me even listen to, let me just give it a thought, or maybe by mistake somehow, you know, and prayerfully, God is doing a lot of things. People are giving their life to Christ. Churches are even testifying now that their membership is growing and all of that, you know. Like, these are the things.
We're reaching more people than before.
You know, so it's fascinating. Another thing is,
I'm sorry to cut you. I'll let you talk. And I love the Sunday morning now. I sleep on Sunday morning. I watch my service myself, and I've taken notes with my family because I pre-record and premiere, you know. So I'm like, wow, don't tell anybody. I like this. I love this kind of Sunday.
So I think it also revealed it revealed our gaps, you know. It revealed, I don't want to call them vulnerable, because the body of Christ is not vulnerable, because I mean, Christ is the head of the church, but I would say our gap, you know, in terms of our operations on earth.
Our blind spots, the blind spots of the church,
because there are people who have believed that the presence of God only comes within the building, like that anointing, you know, you only feel it when you, there's a place for gathering. We should not forsake the, you know, the gathering of ourselves. That's important. But that was not to substitute the place of you experiencing God in your living room. Experiencing, now people can believe that if you touch the screen, you can receive a miracle. Like you could follow, you could have all the expressions of the Holy Spirit in your room. Like you can decide to create the environment for God to invade your space. So I think it's powerful that now families can dress up, sit down on their couch and attend Sunday service in their house, meaning they can experience God in their space, you know, other than we have to go there to experience it. Another thing is, it's also showing us that the Joshua's generation do not have to depend on the methods of the Moses generation to deal with the future that is ahead of them. So, you know, I believe that our fathers have done great. They've done so much, and based on the level of revelation that God has given to them, they've done so much, and they're still blessing us till today. But the truth is, there are fresh insights that they may not even pick right now, just because a new season is on the rise, a new generation is on the rise. It was T.D. Jakes who said that for every generation deserves every generation deserves every generation deserves a revelation, something like that. Every generation runs with its own kind of revelation. So just like our fathers were able to come to terms with certain things that were not correct with their own forefathers' generation, or things that were not working, things that were not okay. That's how some of us are going to be finding out things that were not so perfect or were not so all right with the previous generation that cannot work in this time. You know, the conversation is now very, very different. You get what I'm saying? You let me give you an example. For instance, all those deacons and mother in Israel, you know, that only function within the church, now see that there is need for them to go outside. You know, now see that there are lots of work to do outside and sitting down in church waiting for somebody to give an opportunity to preach, and you do not preach for 20 years. You've not climbed the pulpit and you are still called deacon and you're just comfortable there, whereas your platform is somewhere outside, is somewhere, I think it's also revealing our approaches to the gospel, also showing us how we can do gospel more effectively, how we can reach people more effectively, how we can follow up people more effectively, how we can impact people, how we can even with data check how impactful our ministries are, you know. So I would say these are some of, and then I would say this for as maybe the last point, that it has also revealed how socially irrelevant some churches had been over the years. So I said to a friend recently, I said, see, I am not proud about a church that brags about billions in their account, you know, but in this season, their doors are closed. In this season, they are quiet. In this season, they are, you know, they're just doing things, you know, they're just doing things casually, taking it easy, managing things around. When, you know, there is demand to open those things and spread. This is a time to spread light. I usually see that a church that lacks social relevance was not the one that Jesus died for. You know, that's not the church that Jesus paid, you know, the price for. That was not the church he bought. So this is an opportunity for, even in this COVID, I feel like we should be on the streets. Like when I mean be on the street, not, you know, exposing ourselves to whatever, I mean, managing that, but like taking steps, going out there to reach out to places, to areas where people ordinarily may not be able to go to. I feel like our job as kingdom people is as sensitive as the frontline people, as we call them, you know, those that, you know, like the military people, like the nurses and doctors. We are like, that's who we are right now. We are,
we know what we call the team at the LDC. So we have a team of, so there's an executive team, and then we have interns. We have several interns. So they are called frontline soldiers. Right. So frontline soldiers. And during this period, there are some of them that they've been on call to deliver food. People, you know, call, they get food to your house. They get, you know, even myself, they delivered some food to my own house too. You know, during this period, you know, somebody was giving out African food. I had on this show last week, giving out African food. You must have seen it on the USA saying, I got some good African food delivered to my house. So they're doing that and just standing there, they're delivering masks to people and all that. So just like you're saying, churches can be relevant at this time. Let me ask you guys these things. I think it's very important for those who are watching. So we're talking about being creative and innovative and strategic. Let me ask you, being creative people, how do you create an atmosphere for your own creativity? How do you get new ideas? You know, how do you do it? How can people do it? Rotimi.
Yeah, so I personally take personal retreats where I go by myself. You know, previously I would just hide out for about 2 days and just write. I'll take my journals, my music, I'll just plug in, I would pray, and I would just download. And I also write music, so I would take my guitar with me and just play and just get new songs. In fact, we do annual conferences, or we've done annual conferences. We do, all the songs are original songs. And I get all those songs on my retreats. When I just go and I turn off my phone.
You don't do, Rotimi. What is it that you don't do? You sing, you do graphic design, you write music, you write books, you write poetry, you preach, you teach, you do. I'm like, God, remember us now.
I'm working on how to.
Oh God!
I'm working on how to fly now, so I've not been successful with that.
Like the day that God was creating you, was really busy that day. Like, I'm going to pack everything inside the sky.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I create a space where I retreat. And when retreating, you're really advancing. You know, I always think about the arrow that you stretch it and then you release it. And the idea is just to find a quiet place where you can turn off all the noise. And this is the main noise making engine in our world. So I turn off my phone. You know, my wife has a way that she can reach me. She's the only one that can reach me for those 2 days. And I just take my journals and my books and I dedicate it to creating. The other thing that I do is I create a checklist of what I want to accomplish on my personal time. And it's always very helpful, whether it's writing maybe 2-3 chapters, maybe it's writing 3 songs, maybe it's reading a book. All of that, I do it through in that session. The other thing also is just reading, and Success can attest to this. Just reading. Reading really opens up your mind. It opens up just being able to get knowledge from what other people's thoughts. It really, really helps to be able to study and read. That really helps me with my creativity. I also do what I call mind mapping. There are apps for it, but I like to write. But I can show you, I have a bunch of multicolored pens, all kinds of colors. And I take, just my journal and I start writing and drawing lines and mapping different thoughts. It's really, really helped me organize myself, get new ideas and build them out. I'm pretty sure I have multi-million-dollar companies in my journals that I'm just waiting for the right time to manifest. That I've just built the framework in those sessions when I've taken my time to go out of, my way to a quiet place. Just thinking about how Jesus would go up the mountaintop to go pray and receive and download. It's just something like that.
Yeah. So we have to be in position for creativity.
That's right.
Like it's, they say they used to call the creative, the creative flow. They used to call them the muse in those days, in Greek mythology, right. That the muse will come to you. And that's why we get the word music, amusement, and so on. It was the muse that once the muse comes, then you get inspiration. But they also say that the muse comes to somebody who is already trying something or who is in position. That's when the muse will come. So we have to put ourselves in positions to be creative. Success, how do you do it?
So first of all, I would acknowledge the fact that not everybody is that high on creativity, so sometimes it goes with personality. But everybody has the opportunity to create something. Everybody has talent and all of that to do whatever they want to do. But it varies from individuals to individuals. Those who, I don't know, that's, I would say, that's one of it, because I've seen some like personality testing that attests to the fact that some people are very high on creativity, and others, some people, it's literally their strengths and all of that. But that's just one of the things.
Like 100% on that scale.
Wow.
Above the scale.
The reason why that has to be clarified is because some people might think, because I'm not so high, or because this is not my strength, so, and all of that, they or start feeling jealous,
like I'm feeling now, feeling jealous of both of you,
So people need to understand that if that is not your core area of strength, you have your own area of strength, and you need to love that as well. Just the way these other people like they are. So that's one of the things to think about. Of course, reading and exposure also matters. What you expose your mind to would determine the kind of things also that can come to your mind, that can evolve in your mind. Even in terms of what you're doing, Rotimi is a creator kind of guy. And so if he exposes himself to more things that he had never seen before, it impacts his current creativity. it impacts its conceptualization, so that's part of it, exposure. Another thing is, we are kingdom people. So I would say the Spirit of God, and this is what I mean. Um, you know, I I don't have a problem with people speaking in tongues. I speak in tongues. I don't have a problem with people falling on the chairs, rolling on the floor, feeling all the fire. That as a sign that the Spirit of God came in a place. But when I look at Joel chapter 2, where it talks about the Spirit of God, it says, I would pour out my Spirit upon all flesh. Speaking of this time, right? This last days. It says, your sons shall see visions, your old men shall dream dreams, your daughters shall prophesy. When I think about that side of vision, you know, I usually say that a core sign that the Spirit of God visited a place was that He provided vision. Meaning He provided ideas, He provided solution, He provided way out.
Your young man shall see vision. When the Spirit,
Not, I mean, for me, it doesn't make much sense falling on the chairs, breaking all the chairs, but nothing dropped in your spirit.
You're going to have to pay for that chair. I'm just
nothing creative dropped in. So for me, I'd seen that as a very, very powerful way of really tapping into creative things and all of that. Also, like Rotimi had said, really taking yourself out of chaos and a lot of drama and some moment of stillness to really, really reflect, your environment too, like notes and papers. Like my room is, I have all sorts of notepads. Recently I just got a Surface Pro X, so I'm able to put, I bought it primarily just because of right now. I want to because I realized I had so much paper as notes in this notepad, that notepad, and I need to put these things together. So I invested in a Surface Pro X so that I can use my pen, my stylus to make notes and have them saved into OneDrive. So if I want to reach out to whatever, and I know they're all there, I can always extract them. So investing in technology that also facilitates that, creativity also helps. I just acquired a board for my room recently. So I have a board where I scribble some things. I scribble out some things I want to get through. I draw charts, I draw maps, I draw all kinds of things to just help me see things. For me, I'm like, it's like the more you see, the more you look, the more you really need to see, so that works for me. And sometimes just conversations as well. I've had conversations with people, with mentors, with friends, and like, wow, that's so powerful. And you just begin to see things differently. So I would say for me, those are some of the ways that it has worked.
Wow, thank you, both of you. I'm sure those who are watching us, they are picking up some tips on how they can tap into their creativity, whether they are like at 2/10 or 100 on the scale like me, or they are close to
what?
No. 100 like you guys.
Pastor Lan is 150.
So they are learning. So we've got into the 1 hour mark of our discussion, and we're gonna just start wrapping up. There are two things I still want us to do. The last part would be I would like you guys to talk about the Leading Lights training again and its impact on you, because we're planning to organize an open house, a virtual, taste of Leading Lights. We're calling it on May 23rd for people. They can join from all over the world, and they can have a taste of our Venture 101, the Discovery module, for free. And if you are watching right now, the place to register for that so that we can contact you is openhouse.theleadinglights.org. Openhouse.theleadinglights.org. If you go there, you see a simple form there where you can just put your name and our team will contact you. So we're going to talk about that. But there was one other question that I had for both of you. Do you guys read? What is the place of reading like in this? How is your, just talk about, because I know a lot of people struggle to read, and I've seen some people who struggle to read that, they overcame the struggle and they began to read a little more. What is the place of reading and strategic thinking and, and creativity and all that? And, the books that are, I mean, how can people tap into it and develop that habit? Now, Rotimi, you can go.
I was going to say this is a question for success because he has a million
See
books.
all those books behind him, right?
He has a million books behind him. The way that I approach reading for me is that I usually take multiple books that I read in the season. I have to feel it and I have to want it, and then I just go for it, and then I dig into it, and I really enjoy reading. So there are seasons when I'm studying, but let me say this: I learned something from Bishop Oyedepo last time he was in Chicago. This was many years ago. He came to Chicago and he taught something that's never left me. He said that if you want to be successful in anything in life, go get knowledge in that particular area. And so when we started working hard on the app business, I hired a couple of consultants to come in, and they came in and they said a lot of cool stuff, and I paid them a deposit, and then they did nothing. They were asking me questions that I was expecting them to answer. And I realized that I could actually, instead of wasting my money, I could actually learn this thing myself. And so I invested myself into books, online videos, resources, just reading and studying strategically to be able to get the knowledge that I needed to build this part of the company. And that's what I do. So when I need information, I'll go and read everything and anything. But if you ask me to be like success and just read books, like 4 books per month or 5 books per month, I would not do it. I need to have a goal of this is what I'm looking for. Same thing. My books use brands. I have a brand dictionary, all the terms. I have I have multiple books on business development. I read. We just got the Chronicles of Narnia, the full version. I study Tolkien. Because I write books. I'm working on my next book now on purpose, and another novel that's going to come out another year. So I read all those things. What helps when I know that it's for a purpose. But success is going to tell you have to read 10 books per month. So okay, I'll try not to be ashamed.
Shame us. Oh yeah, shame us, success.
So while I was in my primary school, Nigeria, primary school, I don't know what you would call that now here, but elementary school. So my church leaders used to, whenever they wanted to give gifts, anything that came around gift was a book. And then, in fact, I think it was when I was leaving primary school, one of my gift was The Man That God Uses, and
that changed my life. 1992 by Oswald J. Smith.
I was like, why? I'm a boy. Why is it give you? It should make me a boy that God uses. Why is it give me a man that God uses?
Wow. Seriously, I read a book at the age of 18, and that was when I consecrated my life over to God, to everything I'm doing right now. Yes. I still reread the book. Yeah, that's a very powerful book.
By Henry?
No, by Oswald J. Smith.
J. Smith. So
Oswald J. Smith, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I am 12 years old, and I'm getting a book like that. Then I got into secondary school, and one of these guys came up one day and gave me this book called Apostle of Faith. I'd never seen that before. In fact, he didn't give it to me. I just saw the book in his house, and out of maybe because I've started liking books in a way, I said, let me just read this book. He said, okay. I didn't even know that Smith Wigglesworth was somebody's name. I didn't even know it was somebody's name. It was when I read like the first few chapters, I'm like, wait, this is actually somebody's name, so, but I was fascinated by it, and then somewhere around, college, we went to, Rotimi mentioned the Yoruba, and I was like, oh my God, is he about to say what's on my mind? You know, so like, okay, he did say it. So I was at this convention. Yoruba started this thing then, just mentoring college students. So college students from different parts of the country, whether they were living faith or not, they went to Canaan land. So the very first edition, I was there. And while that was going on, he told somebody, he did a teaching. He said, if you will not read, you will not lead. If you don't read, you won't lead.
Mm-hmm.
He kept stressing that thing. The thing was like bam, bam, bam. And then and you're thinking about it, you're either in leadership position or you're moving from one leadership position to another. So what is he talking about? I mean, you've been leading, you know, but we understood what he was talking about in terms of relevant, in terms of being really, really at it, you know, really, really delivering impact, you know. So he sent someone to go to his storage to his storage and to bring his books, his handwritten notes. This was like September. These handwritten notes were this big, were this thick. And there were like 12 of them already, like over 12 of them. And this guy that carried it on the altar held it like this. And he said, these are my notes for the year. I mean, so far. And the year has not ended. So he was like, if me, I have all this, I am this busy and I can take all these notes. And some of these notes, I'm not even going to use it in the next 10 years. I can do this. Then you know that you are playing with your life if you're not like he made everybody feel very, very foolish, you know, very, very like people went back at that day. You see the people were clearing books in Canaan land, like students people were buying books like crazy. And since that image has not left my mind, that picture has not left me, you know, that if you see this man, if you appreciate what the outcome he's delivering, you have to enjoy, you have to you know, engage in his practices as well, you know. So I began to love that, to do that. But I will always advise that but think about what you really, really want to do. Again, that thing comes down to really understand yourself very well, know where you're going to, because that is what now tells you the kind of information that you need to go for. That's what tells you the kind of, like I have, because I'm interested in government, I'm interested in leadership, I'm interested in education, I'm interested in community development.
I tell you, polymath.
So my library reflects majorly the things that I'm interested in. And I think that, you know, you don't want to be in a space, you don't want to just have books that are not relevant to you, you know. And there are some books that you don't even need right now, but you come across them, you know. You have to be smart enough to pick them because you know you will need them, you know, and so that when the time comes, you can actually, you know, do them. But in the moment and in the interim, anything that, you know, that is relevant to what you're doing in the moment, you go into it. Or even like, you know, like I used to, like, you want to dive deep into certain things. For instance, healing. You go for something, you know, you bring up those materials and dive into them. You want, your faith is dwindling and shaking anyhow. You bring those, but those things would keep your focus, will keep you steady to want to go through these things. You want to learn how to manage teams or manage stuff like that. You get materials on that. That can encourage you. I'll wrap up with this. There was someone, you know, one of the first times that because I used to struggle then. Solan, you know, you guys will know this book. You know, this was Ababio, that chemistry textbook.
Oh yeah,
the chemistry textbook.
I remember that horrible book.
So
no, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't nice.
For me.
You know, it's interesting that when I think about it, I've actually done chemistry, physics, and all of those kind of stuff. And I used to have a problem with that textbook. I would strategize, develop a roadmap to start reading the book. I got tired of reading Ababio. You know, I don't know whether it was this volume that was frustrating me or anything. This was like SS1, you know, and all of that. And somebody brought a book to me one day, and I read that book. Wow. First, I just realized how ignorant I was. You know, And the book was actually about the fruits of the spirit. But the way the writer did it, it made it so relevant. It literally took it out of, say, Bible context and brought it to real life situation and expounded it with several real life examples. I couldn't, like, for the first time in my life, I stayed on the book. I could not leave it. I pushed away all kinds of things just to stay on it. That was part of what gave me the motivation to now go back to my Bible. I fought it headlong as much as I could, but somehow what I'm saying that is, if you can find out a book that that you can find out something that interests you and go into it. The first book may be a struggle, the second may be a struggle. One might come along that sparks something in you that now makes you like, hey, man, so I don't know this much. I need to read this. Oh, I need to read that. Okay, I check this. Like, you now realize that, with several books, you can now start doing permutation and combination, like, and do several stuff and make meaning out of them, So, but the beauty is, a time comes when you begin to sound the books that you've read. You
love that. Sound the book.
You begin to manifest what you've been storing, and those moments you're like, wow, and all of it's so easy because you've internalized them, because you might even think nothing is happening to you, but guess what? The Bible says that the Spirit of God will bring to your remembrance those things that you've. So
thank you so much. I've been teaching my kids. I tell them, I say there's a way that you can live, that you will always be above your mates, like you will always be ahead. I said that has been my experience from growing up, and I said, let me tell you one of the secrets. One of the secrets is that from the time I knew myself, I always had this hunger and a desire. And I always pursue knowledge beyond what I'm dealing with currently and beyond what my mates are dealing with. So from primary school, elementary school, middle school, and so on, to high school, to university, when I'm talking, I'm always talking ahead. Like I'm always talking because I'm studying something new. And I've learned over time, even now, that in leadership, you must, if you are truly going to lead, you must always be ahead of people. You must be ahead of people in knowledge, in wisdom. Not that you're going to know everything. You're going to learn from people, but you must go where you are taking people. You can't take people to where you've not been to. So I discovered this secret that our minds are really, really very powerful. Like they can do really wonderful stuff. God gave it to us, and you can really do a whole lot of things when you really, really charge them.
Sure.
So I also discovered that if you can get other people's minds, not just your own, and add it to your own. Good. What kind of person are you going to be? So now it's not possible for us to switch heads or transfer. Maybe sometimes it's going to happen. Elon Musk is now working on something right now, neural something. He's calling the company Neuralink. So now we'll be able to start connecting something to our brains and so on. That's one of the things he's working on recently. So now, but one of the ways you can get other people's minds and add it to your own is through books. Especially if you read books that are topical, books that speak to their emotions also, and biographies. So over time, that's one of the things I do. So when I am living or when I'm talking or when I'm doing anything, I'm talking beyond just land. I'm talking like a compendium of interactions with all kinds of people. So, and also try to read widely in different areas, follow your passion, of course, because you will not enjoy it if it's not something that you are passionate about. You go for it and you read maybe one chapter a day, one page a day, or one chapter a week, but make sure you are reading, because your brain cells multiply based on use. They don't deplete. They deplete when you don't use. So you fire neurons with any kind of knowledge or what you are reading. You are firing up new neurons. They call this neuroplasticity. In neuroscience, that Before they used to think that the brain is all made when you are grown up, but they now discover right now that the brain is constantly remaking itself based on the knowledge that you are inputting into it. So if you go and learn something new right now, your brain will start creating new neural pathways to make sure that that is also a part of you. So I want to encourage everybody watching, no matter your level of interest in reading, that you take some time to read. Take time to read. Relax, read poetry, read fiction, read, in the area of your career, but read beyond that. Just read about the issue that you're facing right now. How are people handling it? Just read that way. I think it's going to bless you. All right. So the last question for both of you. So the leading lights training. I want to. Success, you have something to say here.
Yeah. Let me add something to what you just said. Now there are people. Of course, it's not that easy. It's also well, there are people who enjoy reading all 24/7, but so the point is, if you tried it and it didn't work, try again. If you tried it, try again. In fact, one of the things you can do is go online, just Google what are the importance of reading. Give yourself some motivation, like find out, maybe this can add some significant value to me. For me, that's one of the ways I motivate myself. How do I challenge myself to do something? Go question Google as to why is it important? How valuable is this thing? Then and also think about it, what kind of impact do you want to make? Is it this small? If you want to make an impact on a city, that's fine. There's a level of reading that can impact a city. If you want to impact a nation, there's a level of reading that will make that kind of. You can't say you want to impact the globe. You are a global wonder. You are a global giant. You are a global, and you are not. It doesn't work like that. So those things become like activators. They become encouragement. They become inspiration for you to go for it. For you to try again. If perhaps the first time you almost gave up, it didn't work. If you hated it, so yeah.
Success is so wise for all the single ladies that are watching. He's the only single man on this podcast. So you see how ring. So he's the only one that doesn't have a band yet. So please send me an email. I'm his, producer, director, manager.
We should do an online.
Some consideration.
We should do an online dating show for success.
So reading is very. It's just wonderful. It's just something that everybody needs to get into. So I was going to. Our last discussion. So you guys did a Leading Lights training organized by the Light Development Center. Light Development Center is the one organizing this broadcast too. There are people in the back end, working to make this happen. The LDC team, I want to appreciate the LDC team for all the things that they are doing. So what was the impact of Leading Lights on you? And what would you say to somebody who is watching right now, who is thinking, should I do this open house, or not? What would you say? Help me encourage people. Rotimi.
Yeah. I would tell you that it is the singular, after salvation, it is the singular most important thing that you need to do. And I mean that because, I was teaching on Saturday that one of the reasons why we have to talk about discovering our purpose is because we're mortal. We die. And so because our time on earth is really numbered in a sense, the Bible says that teach us to number our days so we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. The reason why this is critical is that it is important for you to live a life of purpose. And discovering your purpose is the key that unlocks all these things that we talk about, fulfillment, leaving a lasting legacy behind. And I was able to, even though I found my purpose many years ago, what really gave me the structure of how to pursue my purpose and live in the fullness of my purpose was being part of the Leading Lights program. It opened up my world. It gave me just a way to articulate all that, whatever it was, to be able to present it into a format that I could take action on. So it isn't just one of those programs where you get great information, like you get that conference high and then you go and then you forget about it. No, you're actually going to create what I personally call, your personal life plan. It helps you to be able to articulate your mission statement, your life purpose statement. You would go even as far, as writing a letter to whoever you see as your mentor. It's practical, it is powerful, and it's really literally changed my life. Some of the things that I was trying to understand in terms of my shape, the way that God has designed me, came to light at Leading Lights. Another cool thing about it.
A little bit, Rotimi, because you were teaching on Sunday, and I was watching your broadcast. I was learning a lot. I was taking notes.
Wow.
Especially, I love your those PPs.
Yeah.
It was like some of the thoughts that we teach in Leading Light, and that I usually teach. You put it in very concise way. Can you talk about those P's of purpose?
Absolutely.
I know your book is coming out on it, guys. There's a book coming out called "Purpose is Calling" that Rotimi is about to release in the summer. So I believe it's going to be a powerful book. I'm looking forward to it. Just tell us about those PPP things.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pastor Lan. I'm releasing that. I'm also working on a follow-up book called, I don't know what the title is, but it's going to be about purpose theory. Because I believe that purpose should be taught as a discipline. We teach science, we teach geography, we teach biology. What those things don't answer is the purpose and the why. Why do we exist? They help us understand, science helps us understand, how to interact with life, how to explain, gravity and all these laws, and try to use data and facts to help us interpret life. But science fails really in explaining why. We can explain why the sun rises up, and sets. We can explain why if you throw something up, it will come down. But science doesn't really explain why do we have those things? Why is it that we can breathe? Why is it that we die? Like really understanding purpose. So my goal, and I feel like my life's calling really, is to help people learn about their purpose. And so I'm creating a program around purpose, and I've been able to put together different P's that really help you navigate your purpose. One of them is your past. The other one is your path. And one that is really, really powerful is your pull. For some of you, there are certain things that people have been pulling out of you. It could be information, it could be knowledge, it could be support. And you keep asking yourself, why do people keep coming to me for this? I'm not even remotely qualified to provide this service. But people keep coming to me. People keep coming and pulling stuff out of me. I call them purpose pointers. These are things that help point to your purpose. And there are many more P's. So there's your past. There's your past.
Your pull.
Your pull.
Pull is second one.
P-U-L-L. So the pull.
Okay, I know. Yeah, the pull. Mm-hmm.
So there's also pain. That many people have gone through all kinds of pain in their past that God has turned it around into a platform for their purpose. There is what I call the path or the process when you're going through a particular season that God is using to shape you to become who He has called you to be. The perfect person that kind of presents all these P's is Joseph. He has many P's as well, which I talk about as well. The prison, Potiphar's house, and prime minister.
Yeah.
So, but it's like God was just trying to present this map to really understanding how He prepares us right from His past when He had those dreams to the suffering, the punishment that He went through. Other P's also would be your passions. A lot of times we think our purpose is our passion, but purpose is deeper than passions. And so passions is there, your pull, and then also prayer is another P that is really critical. If you're going to figure out your life, it's best to go back to who created you. And so even in my purpose theory that I'm putting together, we're going to be using data to analyze if there is truly a God or not. So we're really going to go into science, and we're going to dig deep into data and looking at all this stuff and the universe.
And when is the broadcast? Can you tell people the broadcast you are doing weekly now?
Thank you, Pastor. So it's called Purpose Sessions. It's going to be every Saturday at 11 a.m. 10 a.m. Central and 7 p.m. Central. Every Saturday. We're going to, it's all donation supported. It's free. You can go to purposesessions.eventbrite.com if you want to donate to register. But we're really helping people find purpose, and that's what gets me excited. I mean, you should see where Pastor Lan is teaching Leading Lights. 3 days, non-stop, and he just keeps going. It's like an engine. That's what, when you step into the place of your purpose, you step into the place of your power. You know, and people will ask, how do you do what you do? But that's really because you're operating, you know, in the place that God has called you to operate in.
Thank you for sharing, Rotimi. Success. So your Leading Light experience and encouragement to those who are watching. Remember, those of you who are watching, openhouse.theleadinglights.org. Register May 23rd. We're going to be having a taste of Leading Light for everybody from anywhere you are in the world. You can join. We're going to be delivering it virtually. Yeah, so success.
So, I mean, I've always been very fascinated about subject of purpose. In my school, in fact, my first school in Orlando, an entire class, the class is called SLS, just like Rotimi says that he believes these things should be taught. An entire class, you know, was dedicated to it. For the first time, I was like, wow, so this thing can actually be a part of core curriculum, core requirement for graduating from that school. You must take the class 3 credit load.
Yeah.
And my professor, I would say that professor is I still call her my favorite professor till today. The way she dealt with it and all of that. And there were systems in school. They were like, they had labs for tons of psychometric tests, you know, that were very, very like, I'm like, so when I see people and like, they don't know what they want to do, I'm like, wow. Is it that I was just the only one who experienced this kind of thing in an American school? Let me even say Americans first, you know, because schools should actually support you to do that. I've met people on the plane, you know. One day I was flying in, I don't know where I was going to, but I met this final year student, you know, who was still trying to figure out what she was going to do. And I was like, you're almost graduating. You're not sure about what you want to do. While there are tons of excuses people can give to it, or tons of reasons why people feel they're not, you know, they're not there, they don't know yet. I say that you can start doing something about it. You can start digging in. You can start, it's perhaps your most important assignment first to find that, you know, so that your life is making sense to you. You know, people can say, oh, some people might be interpreting, oh, is the program we're just talking about now, the Leading Light program, is it a purpose program or something? Something might be thinking like that. Well, it is the core of it. It is the core of it. And Pastor Lan does such a perfect job. I would say, sir, what was different about Pastor Lan's own from every purpose session I have ever attended was that Pastor Lan took his time to unpack every part of it. That's what the entire weekend is about, like unpacking every part of it. That you have to leave the place knowing you know what you're about. That's the thing. Like, I've never had such a program that can decipher that stuff in 3 days. Like, is it 3 days or so?
And put it in your name, you know, your name too.
Yes.
Your name, acronym. Yeah.
Oh my God, Pastor Lan is, I don't know.
That one I was just borrowing it from Rotimi. Like, I took a little part of that creativity.
Pastor Lan, there is no way we'll be able to explain what you just talked about very well. The people need to come experience.
Yeah, you have to experience it.
Pastor Lan would turn the names of people. I mean, everybody, let's assume there are 30 people who are taking the class. Everybody's name, Pastor Lan will create an amazing inspiration out of your name for you, like in an acronym version, you know. And it fascinates everybody. And these are people that have probably never met Pastor Lan before, you know. And it would connect with you. That's the juju side of it, you know. It connects with you. You can resonate with it. For those who don't understand Juju, it's a slang word for jazz, you know.
The anointing of the Holy Spirit.
The anointing of the Holy Spirit. So, but sir, I want to point something out very clearly, that the gap of purpose is the reason for competition, is the reason for jealousy. Think about like Rotimi, the simple case of Joseph and his brothers. If those guys knew what their lives were about, if they also knew that, see, they were
part of the 12 tribes of Israel. They all had their purpose.
If they had thought deeply about that, they perhaps would not have had any reason to be jealous with Joseph, to think ill of you. In fact, they would have collaborated with him. Wow, see, we are 12 tribes. We would need somebody to actually go into and be, you know, it would have been collaboration, not competition.
Yes.
You know, if they all understood that they had their place and were comfortable in their places too. You know, people really need to see that, see, we are it's just like pizza. We are a part of the pie. We're part of the entire stuff. So it's not always about me. I'm a part of it. Even God has said that we prophesy in part, so we can't see everything. So we have our place, our part to play. There was something that Pastor Lan did that I really I think it was in he did something on the priesthood and kingship, you know, where he shared with us how that you know, God has made us kings and priests. We're to function both as spiritual people and as kingdom people, being relevant and all of that, and influencing our world. I think that part alone, you know, can shift a lot of dynamics for a lot of people. So let me give you an example, sir. We have if you look at maybe music directors or choir people around the world, that's one part of the church that is highly underutilized. So you have thousands of people who are, you know, coming to church. They spend a whole lot of hours doing choir rehearsals and stuff. When you think about it, nobody is functioning. I mean, very few have the capacity to function as kings, meaning as people as music people in the place. Some of them have even said that, oh, no, gospel music does not sell. I say they don't understand the gospel. They don't know, because there was one day I told one music director one day, I said, see, Michael Jackson did more gospel than a lot of you people.
Wow.
I said, you do not have to be a Christian to do gospel music. You don't even have to, you know, it's the good news you're spreading. I mean, in the world today, peace is good news. Yes. Healing is good news. Justice is good news. Yes. So, but the problem is that we have church people who feel that if their songs do not contain the blood of Jesus, the love of Jesus, the Holy Spirit, they feel like that is not gospel. And because of that, we're losing a critical space in the world. And then people are like always saying, oh, Jay-Z is making millions of, and some people have gone so low to say that it's Illuminati that is making them money. I mean, I'm like, Illuminati and the God that you serve, are they made? You know, are they you know, so we have something so that teaching alone to help to shift our minds. So this is so important, because if Mark Zuckerberg had been in some of our churches, they will condemn him to Bible Sunday school class. You know, he'll be struggling there to keep up with what's going on. You know, when he has relevant in the social space. Another part of it that made sense to me was where you talked about time management. Time management with, you said we should depart daily, we should withdraw weekly, we should that, oh my
God. Monthly, abandon annually.
Like how to create time for you to breathe. Like what is happening now in this is the first time, so this is what they call abandon, you know. Right?
Abandon for 2 months.
You know, like your hands are off quite a number of things to be able to bring your spirit, soul, and but the Bible says he restored my soul. That is in a place of rest, right? And then I think it was Pastor Omo who did a teaching on implementation. So people have all sorts of visions and passions and all kinds of things that they want to do, but no kickstarting, no movement, no, and all of that. And then they have the mission, they have the vision, you know, they and all of that. But Pastor Omo did a fantastic job on implementation, from how you develop systems to structure your leadership, building relationship. You know, there is this part of it that Pastor Lad, I'm still even trying to build that one today because it's hard, but it's important. But I've had a few people who are already in that space, and it's been a blessing. People that can pray for you.
Yeah.
See, you see, pastors, right? A lot of people. I mean, a lot of pastors have people praying for them. They have a lot of people interceding for them, you know, fighting battles, prayers, and all of that. But you, that nobody knows you yet. You're trying to leave the ground, and what you're trying to take off, and some of the things that you want to take on, the devils in those territories are more than the one that your pastor is dealing with. So and you say you just want to jump into it. You have to find people that can support you in prayers, who can, you know, who understands the calling on you, who understands, have an idea of what you're up to. I mean, this is just a little bits of some of the things that just comes to life during these sessions that happens at Leading Light. I am personally even looking forward to coming to do like a refresher. Like just go.
Yeah, you flew from Florida to come and do it.
Florida to come do
but
it.
now people don't have to fly now. They, you know, wherever they are, they can join this open house, you know. We've taken it to 12 nations now, and you know, there are people who are doing it and making impact, who've joined in making impact and all that. There's a network around it. So now we too, we can also, you know, do some relax here and teach it, you know, from where we are. So I want to encourage everybody that is watching us, and or even know somebody who can benefit from it, please go to openhouse.theleadinglights.org. Open house. I know they are posting it in underneath the Facebook chat. So openhouse.theleadinglights.org, and you know, just join us for the upcoming open house on May 23rd. Our team will contact you and they get you the information you need. Wow, you guys, we've spent almost 2 hours. It's, you know, time flies when you're having fun.
Feels like 5 minutes.
I mean, I'm serious. That was a really, really engaging, beautiful discussion. I really enjoyed it, and I know those who are following us, you know, they really enjoyed the discussion. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for sharing your passion, your knowledge, your wisdom with us. We're going to do this again. So, you know, there's still a lot more to talk about, but I really appreciate you for joining us today. And I pray for both of you that God will continue to increase you, establish you, and cause his will for you to come to pass and give you peace and grace in everything that you do. I want to thank those who joined us on Facebook also today. God bless you. We came in with a particular song. You know, I want us to go out. That song has really ministered to me. We're going to go out with it. So when we say bye-bye to every one of you, we'll have that song playing. And, you know, after it, we will end the live broadcast. So can we just say some bye-bye to them?
Yeah.
So.
Thank you so much, Pastor Lan. This was phenomenal. Thank you so much for just helping for many, many years. A lot of people don't know this, but Pastor Lan is part of my story forever. Many years ago, when I first discovered my calling, he was the one who helped register my domain name. He was in the US then, I was in Nigeria. And, you know, I didn't even know why. I mean, we had not met at that time, but he's just someone that has just been my mentor, which I don't say of, but I don't think I say that about anyone else. And he's always been there through everything. So I'm so grateful to you, sir, as you continue to lead and allow us to follow. And I just want to say to you, if you're watching, that, you know, please sign up. This is such a life-changing opportunity for you guys. There's a huge alumni all over the world, and you get to be part of that amazing family. And it's just life-changing. So I definitely want to encourage you to be part of it.
Thank you, Rotimi. Thank you.
And thank you, Success, for inspiring me to go and buy more books. Because I'm jealous.
Just the picture behind him is intimidating us. Success, your last word, just 1 minute or less.
Man, this one, Rotimi talked about how he met Pastor Lam, but I would say that conversation, mine is really, really deep, because I probably wouldn't even be in the US today if my path didn't cross with Pastor Lam in such a very strategic way. I don't think I would be in the US today, honestly, because he was part of my decision-making process, to that. I'm not this person who just gets out of a country, who just jets out just because maybe it's happening somewhere or it's better somewhere. In fact, I didn't want to come to the US, when it started coming up to me that, and all of that. In fact, I fasted and prayed twice, against it, so that because I didn't know how I was going to process that, how that was going to happen and for what reason. But Pastor Sam, my pastor, told me, once you get to the US, I want you to meet a friend of mine, Pastor Lan. And that connection, the first day I met Pastor, it just popped up all kinds of things.
Pastor Sam sent me a message today when he saw this thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I sent it to my network, and so he saw the flyer, and he just, that's Pastor Samuel in Abuja. So he sent me a message, to encourage you guys that you guys are doing great stuff. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. So that really changed one of these days I'm going to really talk about that, because my journey in America, I've been a bundle of stories, like shocking stories. I'm in the works now. I'm writing a book, Pastor Land's story. There are names that you would find elaborately in those books, and draw inspiration from that. It teaches me how important people are to our lives. So thank you so much, Pastor Land, for your impact. Thank you so much for being there. I value you a lot. I cherish you so much. I love your family. Thank you for being such a blessing to me. Oh my God! I remember the time I had a problem at the airport one time. So that's a story for another day. But one day Pastor Lan and I will probably come share all of these funny stories online. Maybe when the book is going to be out, we're going to talk about some of those kind of things. But interesting stories and wonderful implication of just having people like Pastor Lan in your life. And Pastor Lan had impacted a lot of lives around. Pastor Lan has impacted a lot of lives around the world, and that inspires me all the time. Like, you see Pastor Lan today in high-tech environment, the next thing you're seeing him in a village with cows and horses. All taking these lights to every different parts of the world. And I'm like, wow. You look at it and you've not even started. So it's good. It's good. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, both of you, for such encouraging words. I appreciate it so much. I love you guys, and I believe in you guys, and you can always count on my support, that I will be there. I will cheer you on. Anything that you are doing, I will be there. I'll cheer you on. So I'm really proud of both of you. You guys have taught me a lot too, and I'm glad to know you guys. I'm privileged. So let's keep shining. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're going to end with that song again. So, enjoy. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be having a panel from Nigeria, Leading Light Lagos. So we have some amazing guys that are going to be talking tomorrow. We have one that is using chess to teach people in villages, and is now taking it around villages, around the world and all that, to teach kids. We have, just all kinds of people who went through the Leading Lights training in Nigeria. So we're going to be meeting. We're going to be coming on live at the same time on Facebook tomorrow at 2 p.m. So thank you so much, everybody. Let's enjoy this song as we end this, as we end this show.
Deus te abençoe e te guarde, faça resplandecer seu rosto sobre ti, te mostre sua graça e te dê paz. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. And we sing Amen, Amen, Amen. Sing with me, Amen, Amen, Amen. Zamba pambulayo, bia batilayo, nabuzari sinaye, pinanguluna ye, mawana ye, izalana yo, ipesa yo, kimya. Jinigi bok chishigu, no jiki chigil wan hane, ki hol gidil bichisa, fin hebe pishine, shye hol gidil toya, nigiro yang hasa, pyong han jushine. And we say Amen, 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 Amen. Say Amen, Amen. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Guia-me pra que em tudo em ti confie. Sobre as águas eu caminhe, por onde quer que chames. Leva-me mais fundo do que já estive. Minha fé será mais forte, Senhor, em tua presença. Yes, God. Senhor, em tua presença. Amém, amém. Me espera, me upon tua família de geração in your family and your children. It is awesome, it is awesome. May His presence go before you. Sinanayo, Sinanayo, I'll be around you and within you. He is with you, He is with you, He is for you, He is for you. Ele puta, e parate, asa pura yo, yeah. Deus te abençoe. Que Dieu te bénisse.
Amen. All right,
Wow.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Wow. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye,
See
Pastor Lam. Bye, success.
you. Okay.
Thank you.